Hello, SHPE UNT. I'm Emilio Pena, the Public Relations Officer, and what I have with me today for Membership Spotlight is a very special person. He honestly does a lot. He juggles a lot with the other organizations as well, and he's president of the Biomedical Engineering Society, so he's done a lot, especially this past semester. And the special guest that I have with me today is
Marc Anthony Torres. Thank you so much, Emilio, for having me.
Sure,
it's really a blessing. So let's get straight to it.
All right, since so one of the questions that I have is like, so since you're like president of the Biomedical Engineering Society, kind of, what was your journey like, kind of going throughout, kind of coming into UNT, and what made you just want to decide to go into that role and position compared to like when you first started at BMES, if there even was a BMES chapter here?
Okay. So my whole ambition with biomedical engineering was to be the best biomedical engineer I could be. It just so happened that along that journey, I became president. That really wasn't in my mind to become president. But how that started is there was a biomedical engineering society.
Okay.
At the time, I think the president was Manahil, and then after her, I became the treasurer. I began as a treasurer sophomore year. I always just wanted to put myself, it might be kind of cocky, but put myself ahead of my peers, like, and just build my skill set that way.
Yeah.
And so along this journey, I became treasurer sophomore year, and then junior year, I got elected as president. So that's how this presidency came about. So what was the rest of the question?
Well, it was more like just talking about your journey, like starting into BMES, and kind of how you got to your like presidency that you're in now.
Okay. So, man, yeah, I just got elected as president. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I started as treasurer, got elected as president. But as far as outside of presidency, how I got so involved was, as when I was a treasurer in BMES, the advisor of BMES, Dr. Ecker,
Yeah.
she saw my work ethic, and so she was very pleased with it. And so I was actually invited to join her lab, which is the Ecker Lab for Smart Polymers of Biomedical Applications. Best lab in the engineering building. Just want you to know that right now. It's a biomaterials center lab. And so yeah, in that lab, I do mechanical property testing on biomaterials. And the current research I'm doing right now has to do with customizable hydrogels.
Okay.
So they're mimicking the 3D cellular matrix of human cartilage, for example, cartilage in the knee. So that's the research I'm pursuing right now.
That's really impressive. So so I know like research is like kind of a big deal here, especially at UNT. And you said it was Dr. Ecker. So I guess just like, what was like those kind of like qualifications and just that work ethic that she saw in you that kind of just pulled you into it?
So, man, the work ethic. I was the greatest characteristic you can have as an engineer is your flexibility. So always taking the initiative and being able to, if somebody asks like, oh, who wants to take this task, undertake this task, right? Oh, you're gonna be the first person to do that. That's how you get ahead. That's how you look better than your peers, and that's what makes you more marketable as an engineer. So that's something that I'm assuming she saw in me, because I don't think other people are doing that. So yeah, that was the main thing. And then being a sociable person, engineers, you'll often hear like they're not too sociable. They're kind of square.
They're kind of just stuck in their own
yeah,
little
there's
world.
kind of so being more sociable, being personable, being able to connect with others outside of engineering is also a big thing. Having character, and then obviously you gotta have drive. I mean, just putting in more effort than others, that's gonna get anybody far. I'm not the smartest person. My peers are way smarter than me, but what sets me apart is my work ethic and my willingness and to just do more as an engineer and learn more. Always be curious. Hey, for people watching right now, stay curious on anything.
It's really great to hear. I know, especially like as an undergraduate, since you're also an undergraduate as well, you're kind of in like a special track as well. you're doing biomedical engineering undergrad track, but but going into PhD, right? So kind of tell us a little bit about that, because I've never heard of it before, and kind of like what kind of got you into that, like kind of got you into that track, especially because PhD is kind of a big, like it's a pretty big deal. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Man, I mean, right now I'm on the fence with either a master's or PhD, but I am looking towards a PhD more. I'm leaning more towards a PhD. I mean, what got me with that is as soon as I got into the research lab, and I got so engrossed in all the research and what was all being conducted, I found a new interest in the field, right? And this was further sparked by when I went to the biomedical engineering conference in 2023, seeing what all was being done around the world as far as research-wise from these other universities and these other students, what they're doing. That further pushed my desire to continue in academia and pursue grad school. So that conference was really what got me going. And yeah, so that's what it was.
So I know that another thing too is like, since you're not just like the president of BMES, you're also kind of pretty active in other organizations as well.
Right.
So I guess kind of with your involvement within SHPE, kind of how did you hear about SHPE on your way, like when you got to UNT?
So as a freshman, man, so I'm a Latino, right? Afro-Latino. I'm Black and Puerto Rican. So I was just trying to find pretty much my community where I could make my connections and build a foundation of friendships. And SHPE was that source. So I'd like to thank SHPE. SHPE is a phenomenal organization. It's a huge organization, and there's a lot of room to grow. So yeah, SHPE and NSB as well. Man, the president for NSB, speaking of NSB, so he actually helped me a lot. Tremel Middlebrook, if you're watching this, man, you're a great person. You're a phenomenal guy. I put it like that. He's a great person. He helped me coordinate the Makeathon competition that BMES hosted this semester. So so just finding NSB and SHPE, those two organizations were a great foundation for me as an engineer and to get my connections started off.
That's pretty amazing to hear. You know, you have all these like different support groups, kind of helping you out, kind of helping you guide you and find like a path for you. Like kind of goes back to, because when I started SHPE, like I had like it kind of like saw these organizations like, you know, it's kind of impressive like their missions and what they do. It's really impactful, especially.
Speaking of missions, so you know, with BMES, the intention of my presidency this year was to just provide a competitive mindset, you know, instill that into the BMES students, such that, you know, they have something to get from this organization. That's why we actually hosted the Makeathon, because that was a perfect opportunity. It was really a platform so that the students could display their adaptability and innovative prowess to the judges. So that way, I mean, that went into their connect. That's how they built their connections. That's also how the department builds their connections. That's how BMS built their connections. That's how the students build. So everybody wins. Everybody wins. That's the point of the competition. That's why I encourage competitions all the time. You know, it's good to be competitive. Too much competitiveness is a problem, but a little bit is not too bad. It's you know, it's satisfactory. You know, and when you win, it feels good. Winning feels good. So that was my intention this year as president. Give students a platform, and it worked. It worked.
So kind of going to the Makeathon and everything. Like I knew it was definitely a pretty big task to like kind of deal with.
Man.
Even with just like the organization itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like what I know you said Tremel helped you out a lot. The president of NSB.
Yes.
How was like just kind of like what was like some of the big problems you kind of had trying to start the Makeathon, and then getting into what it is? Because like after seeing it, like I was really impressed with some of the projects that I saw and some of the people that were competing in it. So
man, I appreciate that. So what Tremel helped me obviously with getting in contact with the correct people, but also the ship familia. That's what I'm talking about, man. They were phenomenal. As far as they volunteered when they didn't have to. They took time out of their day to volunteer during the workshops. But as far as organizing the event, it was a struggle because it hadn't been done since 2020, which was COVID year. They hosted the competition online. So all the logistics that were included or involved in this year's competition weren't taken into account previously because of COVID.
Yeah.
So how that process worked was, looking back at it, obviously reserving room was the biggest thing first. Then coordinating, getting in contact with merchandiser, who's merchandising the vendors, because there's paperwork you have to fill out in order for them to cater food, and also finding judges. That was the biggest struggle because it hasn't been pulled off in person. Not many companies had faith in the success of this competition. So by us pulling it off, that put everybody on the map, put BMS on the map and the department on the map, that we can hold grand events such as this. And so I was just really thankful for everybody involved, NSB, SHPE, of course, even the department. That's the biggest thing. The whole department was in on it. They supported me and BMS. So having all those factors into play really just made the event what it was. And congratulations to the winner as well. The winners were Power Fail Girls. That was the name of their team. So congratulations to you, Marcella and Sarah.
Yeah, that's really impressive because since 2020 is pretty insane.
Yeah, that was the last time we had a competition like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know for sure, like, since you said it was online, like, the logistics of it were not there since it wasn't in person, but
yeah.
I still say that is definitely an impressive feat to pull off.
Appreciate it.
And so, kind of with these, like, feats that you've had, like, I know you've kind of brought up some, like, important skills that engineers should definitely have, kind of being more like being a people's person, not kind of being a people's person, kind of being open to presentation.
Yes.
And so, if you were to kind of like, I guess just as a biomedical engineer as well, like for somebody that wants to pursue this degree plan, what do you think? What would be something you'd tell them if they were to want to become a biomedical engineer?
So I'll tell you this right now. So if there are any freshmen watching this is the best opportunity for you to learn. Okay, look. First of all, in your mind, you have to want to get ahead. You have to want to, in your mind, you should be saying there's not enough time to be better. There's not enough time to improve my skill set. And you should break it up like this. Every semester, you should add something to your resume. And if you want to go to the extreme, every season, add something to the resume. That means every winter, add something to your resume. Every summer, add something to your resume. But if you want to, scale it down, that means every fall and spring semester, add something to your resume. And that could be, you learned how to code, you got a certification. If you can do that, you will improve your chances. And when it comes to getting internships, it's all about chances and probability. So that's what I recommend for all of you watching right now. The biggest thing is finding a niche in something. Like me, I love SolidWorks. I love 3D modeling. I don't like coding at all. And because I don't like coding, I say, hey, look, I'm gonna focus on 3D modeling. I got my certification. So for those watching, I recommend you get your SolidWorks certification or MATLAB or both if you want to go the extra mile. You have to join a research lab. Any good student, you won't be able to compete as an intern if you don't have any lab experience in your resume. So you need to have research experience. So the professors in the biomedical department are always going to find hardworking students. So join a research lab, get a certification, and become an officer of BMS, of SHPE, of NSB, SWE, anything, because that shows that you're responsible. That shows you do something outside of the books, outside of your courses, because the courses aren't, everybody takes courses. That's not enough. So those things that's a good starter. That's a good starter right there. And obviously GPA, you're a student first. Don't forget that, y'all. You're a student first. I'm just trying to think what else. I think I hit the nail on the head. So, yeah, that's all I have to provide for y'all as far as skill set wise and what makes a good biomedical engineering student.
So, I guess this is like, I kind of do want to go back on one of the questions I asked more about SHPE.
Yeah.
So, I guess kind of like, was there any like memories that you've had, something that's like kind of stuck with you ever since you've been a part of SHPE? Or...
Man, let me tell you something. Something about SHPE, and I've taken a page out of SHPE's book as far as the camaraderie. The close-knittedness of SHPE is unrivaled. That's what I tried also to instill in BMES. You know, we just recently had a field day, stuff like that. And I will credit SHPE for their activities that they host outside of academics. They have karaoke night. They have SHPE sports. They have those activities, builds camaraderie, it builds connections, and it's just fun. It's a good time. It takes your mind off of books, and it's with people that are like-minded as well. So that's the best part. That's what I love about SHPE. And that's why SHPE is as big as it is and successful as it is. So that's what I like about it. And Fernanda, she's the new president now. She's a great president. I could tell she's very intelligent. So SHPE is in good hands, that's for sure.
And so, and you brought like a lot of great information and knowledge to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one thing is that you did bring up was the importance of getting into research.
Yes.
And so I guess what would be kind of like a good pathway for a student who's like never been involved in research or anything like that, but is interested, you know, what would be something that you definitely would tell them to, like, if there's anybody to reach out to, or if there's anything they should do beforehand before they consider going into like a research lab?
So that's a good question, because I had no research experience prior to joining Dr. Ecker's lab, biomaterials lab. So what I would recommend is reaching out to one of the officers of BMES. Almost all the officers are in the research lab right now, so we could definitely guide you and give you tips on how to join, like how would you go about that. But if you want to do it on your own, first look at the each professor has, or they should have a website. Go to their website and see what the research is about. Read up on it, and then email them. Email them saying, hey, I saw your research in such and such. I'm keenly interested, not very interested, keenly interested in what you got going on in XYZ. And from there, you know, they should respond to you. If they don't respond to you, email them again. These are some I've noticed these professors are very busy. They have classes, you know, they're trying to get ahead in the research. So 9 times out of 10, they won't get back to you after the first email you send. So send 2 to 3 emails. If that doesn't work, go see them in person. By doing all those things, that shows that you're eager. That shows that you're ambitious. You want to do it. And the best thing you can do right now is, you know, impression. The first impression is key. So that impression that you leave on the professors is big. So that's what I recommend for those trying to get into research labs.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because, I mean, I've said before, UNT is really big on research, and almost every professor that you have taken or will take is going to most definitely have or be undertaking some sort of research.
Yep.
And I guess to kind of just, this would be a good point to kind of close it off, because I mean,
Okay.
you've already brought a lot of good info to the table.
Okay.
For sure. And I guess in regards of like SHPE, what would you, if you were to ask a student that was interested in checking out SHPE, what would be something that you would tell them?
Oh man. Let me see. Checking out SHPE.
Yeah, something that you could tell them, like that if they were interested to join, like, you know, what would you tell them?
Like what they can expect.
Well, either what they can expect, or
Okay.
those that want to join, you know, what would you tell them?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. What could I tell someone that's trying to join SHPE? Oh man. Okay. So for those who want to join SHPE, this is what I have to tell you. It's gonna be the SHPE Familia. That's a real thing. That's real. They look out for you. They're gonna support you. Do not worry. You're in good hands. There's a lot to learn from them, engineering wise, life lessons. Everybody, they have a bunch of different backgrounds. Everybody with different perspectives. So that's what I'll tell you if you want to join SHPE. You're gonna love it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Mr. Marc Anthony, for taking your time out here enjoying a great meal, and can't wait to see some more great work from you, especially in the coming future.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to great work with SHPE as well. A BBS SHPE collaboration coming soon. Check it out.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all to checking the video, and this is Emilio Pena signing off.